Well, the divisional round games were okay. I was expecting a bit more. I don't know. As far as divisional round games go, all I can say is what came out of them and what the conference championship games look like. I can't fucking wait. I don't know how a fan of football can't be fucking intrigued and just on the edge of their seat waiting for Sunday to come around. But before we get into that, let's go over what exactly happened. We had the New Orleans Saints at the Seattle Seahawks. I honestly thought, and I predicted the Seahawks to win and win big in this game. They did anything but that. If anything, all Seahawk hate aside, they looked weak. Not so much on defense. The defense did their part, though the defense kind of flailed at the end and lets the New Orleans Saints right back in this game, in a game that was dominated into the fourth quarter. It was just fucking dominated by that Seattle defense. I know Russell Wilson is like this big, highly praised quarterback, but you got to do a lot more than that to impress me. A lot more than that. And I know Seattle fans and just fans in general say, well, you know, Russell Wilson doesn't have to do much. They rely on their ground game and they rely on what their defense does. If you think you can get by the San Francisco 49ers and have Russell Wilson put up the performance he did last week, you are fucking kidding yourselves. But we'll get a little bit more into that in the prediction portion of this video for the conference championship games. That Seattle secondary is fucking ferocious. Fucking for every time I see Earl Thomas make a play, I hate it. I hate it because I know Howie Roseman passed on Earl Thomas, drafting him. When we needed a fucking safety on this team, they passed on Earl Thomas. And they willingly admit they fucked up. Earl Thomas is the second coming of Brian Dawkins. And it may be early on in his career, too early to say that, but fuck, if you don't see Brian Dawkins in that guy like I do, that guy's just a fucking beast. That whole defense is just a fucking beast. The pass rush is unreal. And again, to the Saint fans that, you know, are feeling confident, I'm like, Drew Brees has really looked out of sorts. He looked shook in that Eagles game in the wild card round, and he looked shook in this game. He really didn't get his shit going. He was held under, what was it, under 50 yards in the first half of the game for Drew Brees? The guy's just not been playing that good of football lately, and if Drew Brees was playing more confident football and looked better in that divisional round game against the Eagles, I'd been more willing to give the Saints a chance. But with all that said, Saints still had a chance to win this game. And Saints, as fucking dominant as that Seattle defense was, the Saints still could have won this game. And that's what just really shakes me, and I would just ask you Seattle fans, I know you've had a hard time doing this all year. Humble yourselves. Humble yourselves, because you are not the end-all be-all that ESPN and NFL.com and everyone else that picked you to win the Super Bowl before preseason even started. You are not that end-all be-all team that you're trying to convince yourselves you are. So, anyway, am I saying they can't win the Super Bowl? Obviously they have enough to win the Super Bowl. But realistically, they can get smashed. And they can get smashed unsuspectingly by a team like the 49ers. But, like I said, we'll get all to that in the prediction portion of the video. Alright, next game up. I picked the Colts over New England. Now, I tweeted out during this game that the New England Patriots are just never going to lose a game ever again. Never. They're going to, until the world explodes, till the sun explodes, till whatever, the New England Patriots are just going to fucking win, because that's all that fucking franchise does. I hate the Patriots. I hate that fucking franchise, but you can't deny the fucking results they have. Man. LeGarrette Blount. Where the fuck did this guy come from? He had 700 rushing yards all year. He had a $166 on Saturday night. 4 touchdowns? What? That's the thing with New England. They just take throwaway talent like that. Like Garrett Blount was just thrown away. Just like Corey Dillon was, just like Randy Moss was, just like that. Fuck, the guy the Redskins drafted really high and got rid of, and someone's going to remind me that shit. Anyway, LeGarrette Blount, a throwaway talent that turns into a fucking superstar. New England is decimated on so many ends of the ball that it's like, there's no way they're going to sustain this into a Super Bowl push. But then you're like, how can you pick against them? It doesn't matter who they put on the field. They find a way to win. They sleptwalked to 12 wins this year. And then they fucking opened up a 43-point offensive explosion on the fucking Colts. Now, I know the Colts ain't exactly the great defense of the world, but when Tom Brady doesn't even have 200 yards passing, nor does he have a single touchdown, and the Patriots put up 43 points? It's just, the team's just fucking enchanted. They're just fucking straight up enchanted. I can't explain it. You look at them on paper and you're like, where the fuck's this team gonna go? They're fucking going to the AFC Championship game right now and quite possibly going to win it. But we'll get to that in the prediction portion of the video. San Diego's second game. San Francisco at Carolina. Told you the Niners were going to win this game. I thought this was going to be more of a coin flip game. It was kind of disappointing to see it be just a relatively easy win for the 49ers. I mean, halfway through the second quarter, the 49ers had that game under control and they just didn't let go. I wish the officiating was better in this game. Now, I'm not going to blame the officiating for the 49ers' sole reason why they won. I think they would have won regardless of how the officiating went. They just came that much better to play. But it is a shame that there was a significant amount of bad calls that went in the favor of San Francisco in this game. There were some bad calls that went in Carolina's favor near the end of the game, but it was too little too late. It seemed like makeup call time, but it's the officiating's just been so flawed this year. You figured the refs would try and crack down on that after the fucking debacle we had to put up with the replacement refs last year, but it just looks like some of the worst shit I've ever seen. And for when you get into the playoffs, especially the divisional rounds, you're getting a more of like a all-star caliber group of refs. You'd think. I mean, you are supposed to, but bad calls aplenty so far this postseason, and it's a shame. But again, regardless, San Francisco, straight up, San Francisco would have won that game. San Diego at Denver. I picked San Diego to win this game, and they damn near almost did. But Peyton Manning and the boys pulled this one out at home. It was a reasonable temperature out, so I guess that played into Peyton's favor. And now we got that classic matchup of Peyton versus Tom. Boy, if you've been a fan of football for the past 10, 15 years and this doesn't get your fucking dick hard or pussy wet, then I don't know what will. That is just a classic matchup of classic matchups and a legacy of both men on the line. If Tom Brady wins this game, he basically, it's hard to argue how you don't see him as the greatest quarterback of this era, even if he doesn't win the Super Bowl. This will be his 6th Super Bowl appearance. 6th. And if Peyton Manning wins this game, he gets the tie over facing Tom Brady in the playoffs at 2-2. He's now he's at 1-2. Brady's beat him twice in the playoffs, and he gets that 2nd Super Bowl appearance. Now Peyton would actually have to win the Super Bowl, as far as I'm concerned, to move up that next step as far as making an arguable point for him being the quote unquote greatest quarterback in this era, but. Man, that's going to be a hell of a fucking matchup. I said New England is never going to lose a game again, and as bad as that Colts defense is, I honestly think the Broncos defense is worse. And I don't think you're going to see so much of a LeGarrette Blount show as much as you're going to see a Tom Brady show. But at the same time, how can you bet against Peyton Manning this year? This game, I honestly see as more of a coin flip than I saw last week in that San Francisco-Carolina matchup. I'd have to give the edge to the Patriots' defense being a step above what the Broncos have. Not that it's a significant step. Running game on both ends. Well, again, if Blunt has like a type of season he had the rest of the season compared to what he had in the divisional round here, there's no way Denver's going to win. And the Patriots are working off of that moral victory from that Sunday night football game. I think it was week 12, 13, something like that. Anyway, and huge comeback. I forget how much the Broncos were up in that game. It was like 28 points or some shit, and and Peyton doesn't do damn near anything in the second half, and the headlines the next day is everyone went to sleep assuming the Patriots lost that game and woke up to find that they actually won. That's, of course, a different time and place since it was at New England. This is going to be at Denver. So, who do I fucking feel is going to the Super Bowl out of the AFC? Well, I'm so torn in my mind, but I hate this fucking team, but I see the Patriots going. I see the Patriots going. I see them going back to a 6th fucking Super Bowl in the past, 13, 14 years now? Oh my god. Unfucking real. Unfucking real. They have 10 AFC East championships in the last 11 years, and now they're on the verge of going to their 6th Super Bowl in the last 13 years. That's obscene. That is just fucking obscene. But they got to get it done, and they got to do it at Mile High. And I don't see the home field advantage being much in this. Peyton hasn't particularly shown to be much more of a better player at home than on the road. He's a guy that can win anywhere and lose anywhere. And in the playoffs, he can lose damn near everywhere. But, fuck, he's having a good year, but I still see the Patriots winning this game. Now, 49ers at Seattle. Now, this is a game where absolutely home field is an advantage. The whole starting to earthquake shit and 12th man and all that. That Seattle crowd is fucking live and ramped up, and I mean, like I said, Seattle's fan base has already celebrated the fact that they've won the Super Bowl months before they even had a chance to make it happen. It's been duly noted that I do not like the Seattle Seahawks basically because of their fan base that have jumped down my throat and feel I don't give them respect. Granted, I haven't given Patriots much respect all season. I think the Seattle Seahawks fan base, there's something I just never understood about them, and that is they, like the Eagles, have not won anything, have not won the Super Bowl. And there's instances like where Vince Young came out a couple years ago that I'm sure you guys all remember, and he said, this is the dream team in Philadelphia because they had a few free agents that ended up turning out to be nothing. They signed like Nnamdi Asomugha. And he's saying, this is the dream team. And whereas, if he says something like that in Seattle, they'd be like, oh yeah, we're the dream team, we're going to win the Super Bowl. Whereas everyone in Philadelphia was like, who the fuck is this Vince Young guy that was a piece of trash thrown away from the fucking Titans coming in here at a backup quarterback capacity running his fucking mouth for it? Talk is cheap, bitch. Fucking win something before you say dream team. That was the fucking mentality of people in Philadelphia. We weren't going, oh yeah, we're the dream team. We're going to win Super Bowls now. Talk is fucking cheap. And Seattle is one of the most cheapest talking fucking fan bases out there. And I hate that franchise for that. Now, granted, it's not the players' fault. I love that team. I love watching that team play. It's a fucking great team. Like I said, I wish fucking Earl Thomas was on my team because I see fucking Brian Dawkins Part 2 in him. But I can't stand that fucking fan base. And that fan base just constantly fills up my inbox with shit like, oh, who's not going to the Super Bowl now? Who's not going to the Super Bowl now? And leaving comments and messages and tweets to me. It's like, well, get to the Super Bowl. Get to the Super Bowl and then celebrate getting to the Super Bowl. Because I could tell you right now, fucking 49ers aren't going to lay down for you. And you got to be kidding yourselves if you think comparing last week's games and comparing how the Seahawks looks in the final few weeks of the season compared to how San Francisco looked in the final few weeks of the season, who the fucking better looking team is right now. So yeah, Seattle, all fan base hate aside for you and all that shit, all you guys that are celebrating the Super Bowl before you even got to the Super Bowl, and why I hate that fan base and why so many people can't stand that fan base for being so fucking arrogantly obnoxious when they haven't won a fucking thing yet. San Francisco is going to come into Seattle and they're going to kick your fucking ass. And you can just go ahead and celebrate the Super Bowl anyway because you've already conceded that you won it in your minds. But if they win, they deserve to be in the Super Bowl. And people like me will own up and say, you proved me wrong. I doubted this team. I still hate the fan base for being so fucking arrogantly obnoxious, but they proved me wrong if they get there. Kaepernick, do your fucking thing, kid. Fucking do the Superman thing even though you're not in Carolina anymore. Fucking do it in Seattle. Let them see the real Superman. Let them watch Russell Wilson throw 100 yards in a divisional round game. Oh, bravo. I'm fucking impressed. This guy's great. Oh my God. Anyway, so there you go. I got the Patriots and San Francisco in the Super Bowl. Will that happen? We'll find out. All I know is I cannot wait for these fucking games on Sunday. Just as a fan of football, I don't care. My team's long been out of it. But man, I am fucking stoked to see some fucking good football this weekend. And it's amazing how it worked out. The two old stallions of Tom and Peyton meeting in the AFC, and the two young studs in Colin and douchebag Wilson. But anyway, two greatest defenses in the league right now this year, in my opinion, and two arguably best quarterbacks in all of the league right now, facing off in the AFC end of things. Anyway, it's going to be good football. In Seattle, just humble yourselves a little bit. It's my final thought for you. Have a good day, everyone.